Buenos Dias, Gunners Collective. Back at it? You already know. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Here goes another one. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I said what? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Bye-ya. 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 Orale. Bye-ya. You know what I mean? We can get into it. Trip out on this, man. You guys see the thumbnail there, and the menudo style in direct fashion. We're going to get straight into it. What happens to these chomos, man? These pedophiles, man. They get locked up in prison. I'm going to tell you what happens to them. Not too much, you know, because they're hard to get to. But if for some reason, man, people slip up and they're put in a position to be on that yard, oh, bad things will happen to them if their paperwork is discovered, right? And for the most part, there's a lot of placas. Guard! What's he in here for? Is that right? Right? They're going to let you know what's up, man. Men will be men. And I don't think anybody on planet Earth, man, that is normal. Cares for a chomo, man. Cares to protect a chomo, right? And that's just the way it is. Now, trip out. These are two stories about two individuals, man, that went above and beyond to eradicate these people from the midst of their area, right? And I ain't mad at them. I don't blame them. I don't condone violence. I don't push violence. But at the same time, I love reading stories like this. Jorge Porto Sierra, right, from Florida. This individual, that's the Mexicano on the thumbnail, decided one day that if for no other reason, he just couldn't take it anymore. That's it. And he was going to have him some barbecue. Órale. Hey, yo quiero pinche barbecue. Right? He was going to have him a barbecue. No, he wasn't going to have carne asada. No, he wasn't going to have all that. He wanted ribs, that's it, and pork butt, right? And he was about to have that. So what he decided to do is he decided to show up to a trailer park, kind of like a motel trailer park, where these guys were being housed or placed upon getting out of incarceration, right? You know, they have a lot of these halfway houses and these places that people go. It transitions. Some people go there. If you don't have no family members, you don't have nobody or nothing, you might get lucky and get transitioned from prison or from a place into society through a halfway house, through some type of opportunity or some type of, you know, a place that helps you transition so that way you're in a better fucking place in your mind. You're in a better place in your life. So that way you can go out there and be a productive member of society, you know. They try to help you, man. It's a program. Anyways, you know, I guess he caught wind, because the fucking wind was blowing, that they had a couple or a few chomos housed here. For those of you that don't know chomo, refer to the handbook of other channels, man, that are chomo, they'll tell you. So anyways, this guy pulled up and started to get in an argument with a few of these guys. And of course, they closed the door in his face. They weren't trying to hear this. He was heard by several people in this little apartment complex or this little motel complex, yelling and screaming, making threats such as, man, I'm going to burn you guys up. I'm going to barbecue all you molesters. And just all kinds of statements he was making. He's like, yeah, I ain't mad at him, man, right? He felt a certain type of way. He felt the way a lot of different people feel, you know, that these guys, you know, got to go. You know, there is no justification for what they do. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You know, oh, man, you got to bear with them. It's a disease. Well, fuck that, right? Let's barbecue it up out of them. You know what I mean? Let's have some Texas barbecue. And in this case, this Mexicano wanted some Florida barbecue. So I guess he went and got a gas can, put it on all these guys' doors and tried to burn them alive. Now, of course, a couple people were injured. No one really died. No one succumbed to the smoke or to the fire. You know, his intentions were, I mean, I guess they were well thought out, well placed, but at the same time, it just didn't work out the way he wanted to. Now, when the cops did show up, I think the funniest part, the most lethal part, and the most dangerous and treacherous part of the story is when the placas asked him, hey, Baboso, why'd you do this for? You didn't even kill no one. He said, well, you got here too soon. He intended to have him some barbecue. Like he said, he was going to barbecue these guys because that's how some people feel. You know, with fucking movies like The Sound of Freedom and things of that going on, you know, it disgusts you when you think about what these guys are doing. You know, when you're placed in prison, when you go incarcerated and you go to prison, you know, you want to be around motherfuckers that have good heads on their shoulders. You know, of course, everybody there's a criminal. No one there is to be trusted. Everyone there will get you if they got you. Everybody there is just trying to do their time, but nobody there wants to be around a fucking chomo. Wants to be around someone that's going to fucking prey on a kid that's defenseless. Nobody wants that. Nobody needs that in their life. Now, there are certain yards where they are placed. There are certain places where I guess you can get to them. And in this next story, I'm going to tell you this individual was on said yard where he got to him. Now, everybody knows, or at least the way it is now, that the Chomos are placed on the SNY yards, right? Or the PHU, the Protective Housing Unit, depending on how heinous their crime is. You know, back in the days, protective custody and things of that nature in the California prison system was made for just absolutely like the highest level of gang dropouts, defectors, snitches, and of course, people that were predators or Chomos, right? This was where they were placed because the notoriety of their cases and because people wanted to get to them, right? That people wanted to smash on them. When they opened the SNY yards, you know, these yards were intended, you know, basically for these type of individuals. But what happened over time is because the influx of so many gang dropouts, so many people defecting from their gang, so many people wanting a new life or whatever the case may be, they started to place these individuals over there. Now, you got to understand at the same time, right? That doesn't mean that these guys that are gang dropouts or fucking whatever they are condoned at Chomoism, right? That doesn't mean that they like that shit. That doesn't mean that they're going to kick it there on said yard. That doesn't mean that they're going to just, oh, it's okay. I'm protected. I don't want to do that. No, they're feeling some type of way also. Okay. So what happens is when they started to gel and mix all these people, the Chomos had, who can I run to when I need love? Oh, this ain't no fucking escape video. They can't escape, right? So deficit. There's nowhere to go. They got to kick off the shoes and relax their feet. Get stomped out by yo and me. Let's kick it. Other than, and fools were about to kick their heads in. So you started to have a lot of these guys being extorted. A lot of these guys being jumped on. Some of these guys being murdered or killed in their cells. A lot of people get the misconception. A lot of people that are still active or in the game that haven't went to the SOI yet, right? A lot of people get that misconception that, you know, oh, fools are over there rocking with Chomos, kicking it with them, eating with them, busting spreads with them. And it's not, that's not the way things go. What it is motherfucking Chomos are staying in their cells hiding, you know, if they're discovered because there's vatos on the yard that will kill them. Now, this next story is about a wood brother that decided that if for no other reason, he just got tired of looking at these motherfuckers. This guy was in SAT-F. And for those of you that don't know the prison in SAT-F, it's right by Corcoran. It's in the town of Corcoran. It's by the old Corcoran prison. It's a substance abuse treatment program. That's why it's called SAT-F. A lot of people, old ex-convicts or people that have been around, refer to it as New Corcoran. SAT-F is a big facility. Okay, it's got about 3 or 4 yards. And it's got one of the biggest hospital facilities in, you know, the prison system. So a lot of people, you know, go to SAT-F. A lot of people that got drug problems or a lot of people that got health problems, you know, they'll slide through SAT-F. That's just the place to go now. That's where they send a lot of people that got a lot of bed space. So anyways, there are a few SNY yards or a couple SNY yards in this facility. This next guy I'm talking about was on one of those yards. Now, I don't know what led up to him being on one of these yards. I don't know if he fell off in his gang, got removed, just decided that it wasn't working out for him. But he is a lifer, right? And most lifers don't necessarily fall off unless, you know, something pushes their mind to say, you know what, I'm done. You know, they see it for what it is or for what they feel it is. Or they just get put in a circumstance or a situation where, hey, they had no choice. There are people that run from fucking drug deaths. There are people that run from fucking their old fucking cellies or crime partners that they told on. There's just a whole bunch that leads up into it. Anyways, this fucking guy was on an SNY yard and he was gym living, meaning he was on probably a 3 yard. And when you're in the gym, I've done time in the gyms before. You're surrounded by a lot of people. If you're not used to doing time in dorm settings and being around a lot of people, man, it can get uncomfortable. It can get the fuck away from me, I said. Right? You don't want to be around anyone. Hey, there's no privacy. There's always eyes on you. There's always farts, but you know, you smell caca all day long. And it's just a whole bunch of men piled on top of each other, sometimes double bunk, sometimes triple bunk. And like I said, man, there's just no wiggle room. Now, some people like it because it feels more like freedom. You know what I mean? You could chop it up. You could talk to people constantly. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on. Right there, shooting them over there, right there, and chatting. You know, see them right this over here? Yeah. Oh, no, they're like this over there, getting on my mind. We're not even going to go over there. Right? There's just a lot going on in these dorm settings, and some people like it. They don't like to be locked in a room closed up by themselves. You know, they like to fucking be able to wiggle and say, you know, the wigglization is real. They like the wind blowing all day and the menudo style, whatever, they're doing their thing. I myself would rather be in a cell But I'm not going to lie, there are some times, man, when a dorm setting is aight. You know, if you got a few good camaradas, a few good homeboys, I mean, it's aight. You know what I mean? Anyways, in this situation on an SNY yard, there's going to be chomos. Now, most of them are going to keep to themselves and shut the fuck up. And the funny thing is, a lot of them vatos that you think are solid, because they're all blasted, you think they're your homeboys, nah, they're on chomolismo. Hey, they don't call it canalismo, they call it chomolismo, right? They got the chomolismo going over there. They're playing Dungeons and Dragons, sitting Indian style, fucking, but they're not getting their on. You know what I mean? They're getting their on. They're weird. You could tell. So like, I hate to say judge a book by its cover, but man, shit, if you're going to read that magazine, that's on you. You could tell chomos when you see them, or for the most part. But some you can't. Some are all blasted back, fucking been in the system 25 years. You know what I mean? And don't let them babysit, because it'll be all bad, right? It's a bad situation. It ain't a laughing matter. Really, these motherfuckers are sickos in the head. So, trip out on this. There are individuals, and I have ran into one. It's crazy, right? We call him the Chomo Hunter. He would literally walk around places and look for these guys that had these characteristics of what he believed a Chomo was, and he would fucking take flight. And sometimes he was wrong. And so he got him in a lot of wrecks. But he didn't give a fuck, because at the same time he said, better safe than sorry, right? I said, but there ain't no kids around here. Right? Who are you protecting? He said, my integrity. I didn't blame him, right? I felt for him, and I knew exactly what he was into. So again, I ain't gonna lie, I got a couple fuckers in the head like my thing. Handle it, right? So anyways, this guy that I'm talking about, this Wood brother, just got frustrated with being in this area. And I guess he had told the placas, hey, I'd rather be cell living. You know, I'm a lifer. I don't want to be around this much people. I can't stand looking at some of these guys, man. You need to put me in a cell. And of course, the placas are either going to do two things. Either they're going to be like, and I guess that's why they call it the blues. They don't give a fuck, right? Or they're going to always give you that same, all right, I'm going to work on it. Give me a little while. I'm going to work on it, right? And that's just to placate you. That's just so that way you shut up and go about your business, so they can kick back, read their magazine, and their fucking coworker, some chick that's fat and ugly, is jacking them off under the table, right? So that's what that's about. You know, just, hey, what the hell are you going to get money? You came up asking about a fucking cell change? I guess we got to start over, bitch, right? And that's just it. So now, this guy's frustrated, right? Very frustrated. So what he decides to do is to take things into his own hands. I guess this guy that's sleeping next to him on a bunk was watching PBS, was watching kids shows, man. Now, they already knew for some reason or another this guy had bad charges. This guy was a chomo, right? And they were feeling some type of way. When I say they, him and his little crew of guys that he was hanging around with. So he gets to see that this guy is watching these kid shows, man, and he's feeling some type of way. Now, he doesn't make his first move, his best move, his first move, right? He doesn't get off. So that whole night, man, he lays down in bed and he's thinking to himself, damn, those guys should have got off. God, I should have fucked them up, right? And it's hard for him to face himself in the mirror when he's brushing his fucking dientes in the morning. When he's brushing his teeth, he can't look in his own eyes because he feels like, man, I had the perfect opportunity to get off, and I didn't. You know, and as a man, that could play on people's heads. You know, that's like a lot of people, hey, pull up, and then you see them in traffic and you don't pull up or you don't take the initiative to get off. You know, hey, they might not even seen you, but you feel a certain way, like, fuck, that action, eh? So now when the vato's woofing and you're woofing back, you know, you feel like shit, like, man, I had action. I can't even say nothing. The vato's right, eh? I could have got him, man. Right? This is how he felt. But he tells himself, hey, you know what? I'm just trying to get my fucking sale, man. I'm trying to get my change. You know, it's only going to be a minute. I'm going to be up out here. So he waits, bids his time. But he tells himself, if I ever see this fool do some weird shit like that again in front of me, and I feel disrespected, I'm going to get off where I'm mad at. Well, the next day, you know, the wind blows for them weirdos, right? He's actually right there in his bunk area with his homeboy. When this motherfucking Chomo decides to turn on PBS again, he loves some Barney. He loves him some fucking Mecha Ho, some Pee-wee's Playhouse, some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Anyways, his Vato turns his shit on. And this guy's homeboy sees him and was like, hey, you ain't gonna fucking do that again right in front of us, are you, right? And this Vato decides to grab the Vato's cane and start to beat him with it. Well, he beats him so much over the head with the, you know what I mean, candy cane. He decides to fucking give him candy-coated raindrops all over his head. Now there's candy-coated blood drops all over this fucking dorm, this gym. He beats him to death. And so then he decides, okay, he's gone, he's smashed. And the way that, and like I said, I've done gym living. There's a long aisles, and then they got a cop that's up in like a, it's like a big cage up top, and they walk back and forth. They're supposed to walk back and forth. But for the most part, they're fucking sitting down reading newspapers. like I said, talking to their chick, or fucking they're on TikTok up there. You can see them TikToking and shit, right? So anyways, they're up there doing their thing. So this guy's dead in the aisle, blood everywhere. He kind of beat him like in the day room type dorm area, right? No one sees, you know, those who seen it, no one give a fuck. It's a Chomo anyways. Get him, miss, kill him, right? People are fucking like, they're on some American Misha. Anyways, he's dead there. The guy goes to the line movement to go out to the yard, has the cane in his hand and decides that he's going to tell the placas, he's going to give himself up. He's thinking to himself, okay, I did that. So what? I'm a lifer, eh? You know, what are they going to do? What the fuck you going to do, right? I ain't tripping. And at the same time, this is going to get him placed in administrative segregation. Spence off, fucking my tongue is tied right now. The hole, right? And then from there, he'll get transferred to a cell after he does his shoe term or whatever he's going to do, goes through the motions. He knows, man, he'll never be in a dorm again, right? He's a lifer. So, okay, let me fix my thing right here. Okay? Bang, bang. Okay? And he knows that's what it is. Well, on his way there, he happens to see another Chomo. Well, I guess that's why they call that the blues, right? And he says, well, fuck it, in for a penny, in for a pound. And decides to pound this fucking other Vato's head in till he dies as well. Of course, then the cops see it. They come running. Man down, man down. Oh, he's definitely down. And they get him. And, of course, what are you going to do? He gets placed in the way or whatever. Now he's fighting his cases, 2 murder cases that he caught. He didn't want to be around Chomos. They put him in a position where he had to see that, man. Not a lot of people want to be. They don't want to. You know, if you're ever around these type of individuals, what would you do? That's the question. If you knew wholeheartedly, 100% that that's what they are, man, what would you do? Again, I don't condone violence. Would you take yourself out of the situation? You know, would you put yourself in that situation? You know, there's a lot of people on them SNYRs that don't want to be around them, but they're placed in the same proximity. And of course, that's why Chomos get hit. That's why Chomos get smashed. You know, I did time out of state, man, where the Chomos were rampant. There was just a lot of them. You didn't know who was what was who. I've told the story about it, man. I thought one guy was cool, man. He tried to hook me up with a chick and everything. I thought he was just a good dude, man. Solid as fuck as far as I was concerned. His paperwork looked fucking kosher. Everything was dill pickle. It was good, right? He was a cool homie, right? And it ended up he was a fucking weirdo with his own niece and nephew. And said, hey, guess what? I wanted to fucking touch his fucking face in, right? But I was never able to get a hold of him, right? Of course, they moved him away. They knew what time it was. In prison, the worst things to be, of course, are someone who's told on someone's put someone away forever, and also a child molester, a Chomo, you know, predator. People that prey on children or old people, people that take advantage of women, things like that, you know, they're looked and frowned upon. And of course, in society it is. Now it's becoming more mainstream, I guess, where now it's like there's people making excuses for these type of individuals. Hey, anyone could be anything they want to be, man, but if you're going to fucking prey on a child homes, to me, you'll never be that. You'll never be on an equal standings or equal level. And that's why things like this happen. That's why Vato's over here trying to fucking barbecue your ribs and fry your bologna. And that's why Vato's over here in the yards beating you down with canes. Now, there's several other individuals that have went to their jury trials or went to the stand and told exactly what they've done to their cellies and why they've done it. You know, people don't want to see that. They don't want to live with that. You know, when you're in prison, man, and you're placed with that, hey, what do they fucking expect? Anyways, gente, I just wanted to throw that out there, man. I thought those were 2 interesting stories that happened. There's several, many more that have happened, man. When it comes to Chomos, what would you do? Think about it. Put it in the messages. What would you do, man, if you're putting a cell and your cellies into that weird shit, man? Would you ask to be gone? Hey, say, Gar, I can't do it. Gar, I'm so scared. What the fuck that, eh? You know what I mean? Or would you get off where you're mad at? That's a question. You get off where you're mad at, you do life in prison. You're done. You're done. You don't, could you live with yourself? What a fucking rock and a hard place, huh? With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. I hope that you get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the struggle to strive and the strive to struggle. Are you willing to strive to struggle and struggle and strive? Are you willing to go out there and get it for your familia? Because ain't no one else going to help you in this lifetime that we live in, man. You got to do it for yourself and do it for your peoples. With that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. See, heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle for me and my family and do what I have to do, cuz. Hey, trip out on this. Like, subscribe, Gunners Collective, notifications all. Thank you. Gracias. I appreciate it. More stories on the way. You already know what it is. Double up before I bubble up. This is the gun, gente. Gracias for all your support. Bang, bang.